All right. I think we've got a quorum here. So I guess I'm missing my partner in that Colleen isn't able to join. So she usually monitors the chat. So I guess Tabby, can you just keep an eye on that as we go?
Yes, I'll
Okay,
do that.
thank you. All right. I am Jon Marble, if you guys don't know me, and tonight we'll be going over Race Al Racer and just some of the setup and stuff that racers need to know about for doing the 340. So we'll I think we'll keep it. There's not so many of us that we can't do this slightly informal. So if you have a question, please post it to the chat, and then we'll let Tabby kind of interrupt me and ask the question if she sees it. Otherwise, we'll have us. I don't know how long everyone can stick around, but afterwards I can stay for a while and answer any specific questions if they exist. Okay, with that, let me share my screen if I can. Up, host disabled participant screen. Can you get me in there?
Okay.
Try it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the wrong screen. How do I change the screen? Oh well, we'll use that screen. I'll just move over a little bit this way. All right. So let me get this going in a slideshow. And everyone's seeing a presentation? Okay, good. So Race Al, I don't know how many of you folks are new or not, but this does tend to keep on evolving. And this year, I think, is about the most mature, what you would expect of something that's been growing for a while, but pretty excited about this year, though, as far as the capabilities that are out there. So let me get into that a little bit. First of all, what is RaceAL? This is part of the
Yeah.
safety plan. We use it to its primary purpose is of course safety. We it's such a long race that we've got to know where all the boats are and be able to pick them up. That was especially true last year during we'll say the debacle of 23, where it was just a constant sort of stream of help us out and get off the river sort of thing. So it's really important to have an idea of where the boats are when they're spread across the whole state of Missouri. So that's really a primary thing of what RaceAl does. Um, it also has the ability to broadcast messages. So we send out messages periodically. That's what you got when we canceled the race last year. Any sort of safety issue that pops up, like barges, et cetera, they'll get broadcast out to the entire group. Um, and then we also have a lot of individual messages. So there is a number which you can text at any time. We've got folks behind the scenes working, and they'll be helping out with any sort of questions or minor issues or whatever there is. They're available to you. And then there's informationals, right? So it provides the ETA. So we get a lot of estimated time of arrivals. We get leadership boards, things like that, and these are all kind of real time drawn together and shown to people as things evolve throughout the race. And then afterwards, there's of course all the data you can go and grab and pull down and spend lots of nerd time just looking over results there. Let me turn on my laser pointer here because that's cool. All right, there we go. All right. So what we want to do, we want to go over just the basics of how to track, how to check in and check out, um, and then what, as far as your ground crew, what is it you're going to do to actually figure out where you're at? So at least a brief introduction there. And again, stop me anytime there's a question, Tabby, and we'll just try and go into further details there. Okay, texting. Again, you can always text. This is a good thing. Um, one of the features we've added since last year, Tabby, for your information, is this notification. So you can actually sleep a little bit, and RaceOwl will notify you on your phone that, hey, there's a new text. Someone should come and take a look at it. So if you're running race at all, Tabby, this is definitely a good thing for you.
Yeah.
Again, non-emergency issues. If you got an emergency, you don't call us. You call the actual emergency line. Okay, you're going to need to download this thing, Race Al Racer. Okay, this is not Race Al. Okay, so one of the biggest mistakes we make is we download the wrong app, and historically, this has been the app you would use, right? The issue was that I would have ground crew tracking themselves across rural Missouri, and we don't want that. So no matter what I did as far as adding signs and buttons and say, are you a racer? Are you not? Didn't matter. So make sure you get the right app, which is the purple one with kind of little tracking, arrow here. And anyway, get the purple one, not the blue one. Get the purple. Purple good. There are some documents out here as far as how to go about and track with it. These are slightly outdated. I hope to update them by the race time, but you're doing this training, so you probably won't need it.
Wolf.
All right, basic check-in, check-out. All right, this is the minimum thing you have to do um, in order to make sure we know where you're at. So both these apps have a screen that allows you to check in and check out. You will check in once at Caw Point. That's just to prove you're there and you know how to use the app. And then after that, you'll do a Waverly, Glasgow, Jeff City, Herman, and Klondike. We will handle the check out at Caw Point. We will handle the check in at St. Charles. Those are for official use only. So there's always someone who says, I need to check out of Caw Point. No, you don't. We handle that for you. And people try and adjust their time at the end. It will reject you because it has to be official. The app is fairly easy to use. Let me see. I can actually show you this now. When you're doing the check-in, check-out, all you need to do, let me see, there's the Android version. Let me go to the Apple one because it slightly works better on the Apple machine. So both screens look similar to each other. Check-in, check-out, DNF, and then check-out, check-out, DNF. You will enter a boat number, and then it should automatically point you to whatever checkpoint you're at. So when you come into Waverly, you simply say, I'm at Waverly. Here's my racer ID, which will already be put in there because it's the default number that you entered when you registered, right? So you go up here, you put your number in, you go from there, and then go to this screen and just hit check in. That's it. It should reject me because race hasn't started yet, but once it does start, then you can handle it from there. There is, when we started, the biggest, this is not my favorite thing, right? So these check-in, check-outs, I'll just say I would much, much, much prefer people track because this is the main source of error that we have in the race. We have overzealous ground crew and very excited people that pull into Lexington. And the first thing you do is say, oh, I'm at a checkpoint. Well, no, you're not. You're actually at a support point or an access point. You don't text in there. But I'll every year get a whole lot of people that text in when they get to Lexington because they think it's Waverly. I think it wouldn't be a bad thing to have a big sign there that says, this is not Waverly. Do not check in. But yes, this year there's at least there's a little bit of a helper thing that says, hey, you are not at Waverly. Do you really want to do this? And you'll say, yep, I do, or no, you don't. Just to kind of keep it a little bit easier because what happens is it causes issues with the system. It thinks, oh, you're at Waverly. The system will kick you out and say, yeah, you're not there. And anyway, it causes issues and we have to go fix it. So make sure you know where you're at before you check in.
And John,
If
we have a question about how to turn off the voice activation.
Oh, that's a whole other topic. So let's save that for a little bit later. Because voice activation that would be part of the that's like the extra features of Race Al Racer. So we'll touch on that towards the end of the meeting as long as we have some time. All right. One thing here, if you make a mistake and you check in, you can always adjust your time. So you can either do it by this little slider bar and it'll move time back about a half hour, or you can actually go to the log and it will allow you to edit it there, except don't have any. Let's go here. So you can edit the actual log and actually enter the time you actually came in if you want to. All right, so that's the basics of that. Let me go back to the main presentation here. All right. There is still, if you do not want to use an app, you can still check in, right? This is painful, and so I will say I don't recommend it at all, but you can actually text in to this number and send them when you're in and out. And it uses the same sort of format here, your boat number, your checkpoint, the day, and the time. This is I don't know. I that's why the app was invented, was to do this automatically check in and check out thing. This is still available to you if you so desire. Again, wouldn't recommend it. You get tired, you get really hard. It gets hard to text when you get downstream. So I'll leave it at that. Okay, let's check in, check out. Also, DNF, you at least have to, even if you're going to do the next option, which I'll talk about, which is just tracking, you still need to have this app, right? Just in case your tracking fails, or in case you need a DNF, hopefully you don't, you have this to be able to enable you to press this button right here or right here. Hopefully you don't have to, but that's where you do it. Okay, I mentioned the tracking option. This is, I think, the preferred thing. This means that you don't need to check in and check out because you are tracking. You are sending positions periodically down the race course, right? So every 5 to 10 minutes, your device, whether that be a satellite tracker or a phone, is sending a ping to Race Owl, and from that, it knows exactly where you're at. From a safety point of view, this is way, way better. So this is way more preferred, simply because then the safety boats know where you're at. That was really important last year, right? Especially when we reduced the number of checkpoints, like we used to actually check into Lexington and Miami and all these other places. When we reduce them, there is a whole lot of river between those checkpoints where you can be, and we won't know. So for safety's sake, this is way, way, way more preferred, um, just because we know where you're at. And it has this added benefit of having really, really good estimated time of arrivals. So your ground crew knows when you're going to be there. And you just help the race out because everyone can see you, right? It's become a huge spectator sport. There's this whole thing of like dot watching where people log in and they watch the race virtually and they track you, and it becomes a thing. So for a whole week, uh, the number of hits to that website goes way up. I mean, I have to turn it on to supercomputer mode because the number of hits goes just astronomical. So it's an interesting thing to watch. But yes, prefer that you track. If you can't, well, you have other options. Okay, so tracking wise, you got four different options right now. There's one new one coming called Zoleo. That's a Canadian firm that'll have another satellite tracker. But currently it's inReach, it's Spots, an Android, or an Apple. Those are the four options you have. These guys I like a little bit better simply because they are fire and forget. So they don't take quite the care that you need for the phones to keep them running. These guys are a little bit harder to set up. So setup time is where you need to do it now. Don't wait. If you wait till the end of this thing, then you're going to call me up. It's going to make me unhappy, because you're going to say, "How do I get this thing on RaceAll?" And it's like, "Well, okay, did you read the instructions?" Right? That's the biggest thing you got to do. Do it now. Read the instructions. It will help you out a lot, and it will get you on that website. You need to follow them, right? If you don't follow them, something's going to go wrong, and it's not going to work. So the PDFs I believe are up to date. I do not, I no longer own a spot, so I can't check this. I do leave it open to anyone who wants to volunteer to give me access to their login. I will help you out because I like to update the documents every so often. So I haven't done that for this year, but I'm pretty sure these are still the same, based upon another event that happened in March. So I think they're still up to date. But anyway, if you have any troubles, let me know. I can help you out, but don't wait till the weekend, or next weekend, I should say. Things that go wrong. These are the typical things that go wrong when you try and set these things up. Both of them, you'll find that people do passwords. That's not good. You can't do a password and have it be public. And so if you have a password on either of these devices, disable it, remove it. It needs to be a very public feed, at least for the week. For the Garmin side, I like their website slightly better than Spot. Spot has a whole lot of features, but it tends to confuse people. So Garmin is pretty good, except for it does confuse people a little bit on what is the thing I need. Most people will put in like their KML, their share page, that doesn't quite work. I need something more than that because the share page gets you to the spot on Garmin, but it doesn't get me the feed. The feed could be one of several things, and I have to guess. And sometimes I get it right. Usually I get it wrong. So I need the feed, not the share page. I can derive the share page, but I can't get the feed. If they put the feed in, then it's usually right, but they have 50-50 chance of getting it right because there's this KML loader and a raw KML data. This is the one you need, not this one. If you says anything loader, you got the wrong one. Don't do that. Now, when you enter it on RaceAl, there's always a little bit of a delay. So people are concerned because they see success because you entered it, but then nothing happens. Well, there's usually but by the time everything goes through the Ethernet and all these messages move around, it can be up to 20 minutes before you actually see something um, pop up on RaceAl. So um, yeah, if you do this and you think you're right, you get success. Wait a while before you say, I don't see myself. It'll probably show up after a while. Just try a little bit later. For the Spot, their website's a little bit of a mess because they have a lot of different features. So here you really need to pay attention to the instructions and go through. Um, Usually it's something to do with permissions. So you need to follow exactly what's in the guide as far as the things that you need to set. And if you uncheck any of these things, we've found some bad behavior as far as how the locations are sent upstream to RaceAl. Key things for sure though, you got to make sure and get your device associated with your feed ID. If for some reason they have this world of you can have a feed ID and you have to then associate it with a particular device. Most people just have one device, but if you have multiple devices, it really becomes a problem because you got to make sure and pick the right one. That's a usual cause of issues right there. The other one is right down here. You have to make sure the XML is public. Otherwise, I won't be able to see it and you won't show up. This thing here is the feed ID. A lot of people try and type this in. I dare you to take a challenge and type this in and get this right. If you try and do it, you're going to be about one in about 10, like 1 in 10 will actually get it right. Everyone else will mistype something because it's just so long. The O's look like zeros. The zeros look like O's. It's just a mess. So just copy and paste it and you'll be much, much happier. All right, that's it on the satellites. Let's pause there for a second if there's any particular questions for the satellite setup.
We have a question of when the Zoleo will be available.
It would have been available now, except that we put it in place for the Yukon, but then that didn't happen. So it will probably be next year's race at this point.
Okay.
That's actually a cool little device. They've got some neat features on it. I just might have to buy one. All right, setup for the app. Okay, so this is RaceAl Racer. When you download it, you got to give it a few things, right? So give it its permissions, and that means right here, the GPS, you need to be imprecise. I don't think the Apple gives you that option. This is from the Android, but you got to pick this thing. If you don't allow, not going to work. If you do only one time, it's not going to work next time. So definitely do the while you're using the app. That's a key feature. Also, some people turn off cell data, or you've got a company phone and it's already turned off. So if something's not right, just check the cell data. Make sure that's available for the application. You need that. I invariably get questions on can I turn on airplane mode? Well, you can, but if you do that, then it's not going to send anything, and it'll kind of defeat the purpose of tracking. So if you turn airplane mode on, that's fine, but I'm hoping you then have a satellite tracker or something like that. If you do this, then you're kind of out there in the you're just in the dark there. It's not doing what it's supposed to do. And then for Androids only, there is we had a discussion on Facebook the other day about this one, but battery saver is bad. Turn that thing off. You get to it. Let me see if I can actually get to it on this emulator. It doesn't do a very good job, but if you go to emulator or your phone, oh, this looks not good. I'm not sure I'll be able to do it. This thing's been acting up all day. This one doesn't even have it. Doesn't look like. Let me see. Go this way. Yeah, that right here. This thing needs to be turned off. If you see battery saver on, that actually causes some safety issues. One, you won't track well. It will periodically just go to sleep and it will just turn everything off. The problem is this: when it wakes up, there is a bug in Android, and it will wake up, and the location that it sends is actually going to be like 2 hours before, but it will update the time such that it's right now. And so this actually happened during the Freedom Race, and it's happened several times before where the safety boats are looking at all the boats, and all of a sudden there's this ghost boat that pops up behind the boat, and so it's like, wow, there's someone back there I didn't see. So actually, I had Steve Schnarr during the Freedom Race turn the boat around and go back upstream to look for this phantom boat. And what it was one of these battery savers that was turned on, which causes a false location to go up through the system, and it will materialize behind everything because it's like 2 hours back, and can cause issues. So please, please, please don't get tempted. If you're going to turn this on, don't track. Just turn it off. I don't want to see these sort of false signals coming through. Eventually, I think they'll fix it eventually, but I might have to actually put something into RaceAl to catch that because that's kind of a bad one. All right, back to this. All right. Now, if you're going to do a phone, phones are definitely a bit more care and feeding than a satellite tracker. They're going to be prone for several things that's going to damage them. Overheating be one of them. Hopefully, like I said earlier on, the weather actually, at least through the weekend, looks pretty nice. But when things get really hot, these things start cooking, right? They do not operate well when they cook. So you need to take care of keeping it at least in the shade. I prefer in the shade or in my pocket during the heat of the day. The batteries are not going to charge too well, so you got to keep that in mind that when it gets hot, they'll just shut down and they're gonna protect themselves. So keep them in the cool. One of the best spots, if you've got the capability, is put it underneath your seat. So I like actually Joe Mann's setup is perfect. He's got his kind of boat. He's got the kind of the canoe like seat. He throws a thing in a bag underneath the seat, and he can grab it whenever he wants. But just sits down there in the shade, does its thing, and he doesn't worry about it. So keep it cool. I did have one paddler during the Freedom Race put it in a cooler. That wasn't so good of a pick. It needs to see the sky, right? He had it in, I don't know what it was in, but it had some insulation in it, and he had really terrible reception the whole way through. So he had connectivity issues. It was T-Mobile, which is notoriously not so good anyway. And he put it in a cooler, and then he didn't have any connectivity until he took it out of the box and started working again. Um, Water damage. Okay. I have sacrificed several phones to the river because I dump them in the water, right? Or I dip them in, the charging port gets wet, it won't charge. Be careful, right? It's really easy to get water in there, so you don't want that. Keep them in the bag, put them in the electronics box, don't leave them out. They're going to get wet. Um, a lot of people will do those inductive chargers. Those seem to work really well. That way you're not having to plug anything in. So if you have the means, I don't think they're that expensive, but that seems to be a good solution for folks. Um, yeah, battery. So we'll talk more about that on the next screen. That's really where we're going to have the most issues is in batteries. So hold on for a second there. Um, Again, I've seen many people drop these things into the river. Sometimes you sacrifice, sometimes you can get them back, but they're probably not going to be worth the thing once you get to fish them out of the water. I would not be taking my really fancy iPhone on this unless you keep it in your dry bag. So this is where you might want to be looking for those cheap burner phones to just use because they will get destroyed for you. Okay, waterproofing, just some other solutions for you. This is what I like to do. I put them in a little baggie and put them in my pocket. During the day, I turn on voice feedback and I go. I don't even look at the screen. And then at night, I throw it in this transparent electronics box with a charger, and it's all happy. That's my solution. Again, there's lots of them out there. Um, just take care that you think about it because you're going to need to. Okay, battery
John,
drain. Yeah.
so we have a question about kind of with the battery saver.
Hmm.
Um, And can they use guided access to lock the program?
I don't know what guided access is.
It's something that looks like on Apple devices. Um, Annie, do you want to explain a little bit more?
Yeah, hi. I won't take up a lot of time. It's just I'm new to racing, and when I've kept my phone in my PFD, it's just done really crazy things. But there's a an option for guided access that will lock you into the program you're on. It's used for children, so they can't like get on your phone and you
Um,
know,
oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, I know what
yeah,
you're talking about. So
yeah,
you're basically freezing the apps. That's not a bad idea.
yeah. So
Um,
I mean, can I do that? Like that
yeah,
won't. Okay,
no, that's
great.
fine. If you say if you lock it in so that's running, that's actually probably better because then it can't accidentally butt
Right.
dial you out.
Yeah. Okay.
You will
Super.
find most accidents are happening because people have this habit, especially with the iPhone. I mean, I give a phone to my kid, right? I say, hey, you know, put this back in the background. He is so used to double home killing it that it's just second nature. So just you've got to keep the app running, right? And
Yeah.
so what you just suggested sounds like a good way to do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm. That actually brings me to one other point. There is actually a interesting effect of when you have this thing in like a baggie, especially a baggie this thin, because water droplets from your paddle will get on the screen, and it's not bad during the day because you don't usually have the screen on. You don't really want the screen on. You're going to suck that battery dry as fast as anything. But at night, you want to see the channel, right? And so when you got that going on, droplets on the screen will actually start zooming in and out. And so that reminds me, I need to put that feature into these. It was on Pro Paddler after one of the races that I was like, oh, water droplets are zooming in and out. That feature needs to be added. I'll try and get that in this weekend. But yeah, you want to hold the zoom so it doesn't keep moving in and out. Anyway, sounds a lot like your guided app thing. Battery drain. This is something you should at least know if your phone is if your phone's old, you don't want to be on this end. So this is like the drain rate per hour, and this is taken from the 2023 340. Um, and so what it says is over an hour, I lose 2% of my battery. Over an hour, I lose 4% of my battery. Over an hour, I lose 6%, 6%. And then these guys, they just need a new phone, right? So these are like draining just so fast that they're kind of worthless. So you need to be aware if you are in this area, I think above a drain rate of 7% per hour, then you might have troubles making it through a day. The goal is you charge it up overnight, you run it during the day and off the charger because it's going to get hot, and then you put it back on the charger when it's cool. But if you can't make it through the day in the heat of the day, then you're going to be kind of not very happy, right? Because things are going to drain down. You're going to be without a phone, and that's really what you want to avoid. If you get down there in the 20%, 15% range, you're kind of starting to get kind of down there towards, oh, you might want to think about really starting to conserve. And so I would rather you stop tracking and have 15% left and just in case of emergency rather than drain all to zero. So the app actually will yell at you and say, hey, as long as you have voice feedback on or you're keeping track of it, it'll say, you're getting low, you might want to turn off. Otherwise, it will allow you to go all the way to zero if you're not careful. Um, the if you hadn't had a chance, you should see if your phone's in a decent shape. The biggest issue I've seen is like with I like this. I don't know if you can see this or not. This little iPhone minis. Those guys don't have a lot of battery power in the first place. So if you got the little phone because it fits well in your pocket, those are going to be more apt to be on this end of things. You got the big honking Androids; those are like way down here. They'll last for days, and then everything else is kind of in the middle. Like I say, choose your phone wisely. They're not all created equal if you're going to track with this thing. Uh, kind of talked about this. Little things on like rates. This a lot of people like to turn on like the Pro Paddler stuff that turns and like gives you lots of data. That's going to drain your battery decently fast, but it kind of levels out after a while. So as you start updating only every once a minute, once every few minutes, like what the tracker does, that's really in the noise of the system. Most of your juice is going to be taken up by your battery, or I'm sorry, it's going to be taken up by your antennas and by your screen. So if you have your screen on, that sucks the battery dry more than anything. The antennas will also be sucking it down, but you kind of need to at least keep your data on. You can turn off Wi-Fi or Bluetooth; those are fine. I know some of you like to do the music and all that. That's fine. Just be sure you're aware of it. You're going to need one of these charging bricks. For most people, this is more than enough. The 20,000 or 20K milliamp hours, that's kind of a medium-sized charging brick. That will last you the entire race. If you are crazy and run like everything, then you're going to need almost double that. So use this as a little bit of a guide, but normal operation, 20,000 ought to be more than enough. Um, just have a strategy. A lot of people will try solar panels. I have not had much luck with those. Because they get the Missouri mud on them and they start degrading, and you're plugging it into your phone and all that. And anyway, I've had bad luck. Phone swaps are bad too because they tend to be, just be careful. Make sure you kill the app. I don't know how many times I end up tracking a ground crew because of this. There's nothing stopping you from using multiple phones to track the same boat. It will let you do that. It was by design, but you got to be careful not to swap it out, give it to the ground crew and let them go track themselves. Make sure you exit the app, which actually is a good point because the app is designed to automatically track as soon as you get close to the river, right? There's so many times where people get close to the river, they tend to track and then they forget to turn it on. They might turn the app on, but then they forget to press play. That's bad. So it will turn itself on tracking as long as the app is running when you're close to the river. It will turn itself off when you're away from the river. Ground crew, guess what? They're close to the river. The good thing is RaceHow's gotten smart enough, it can pick out what's ground crew and what's not. So you're not affecting results typically, but it is kind of an annoyance because all of a sudden you'll see a boat way up in front and then a boat way in back. It'll kind of flop back and forth. At that point, then a race operator has to come in and kill one of the phones. It gets removed from the system. And you get a nasty email from me. Okay, any questions there? All right, I will go in and do some demos here. And again, stop me whenever something sounds of interest to you. We're going to do just basic opera. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted either. Oh, well. Okay, let's see if I can get out of this thing. Okay, so first thing you do when you launch the thing, it'll pop up and it should look something like, on Apple's it'll look like this, Android's like this. Make sure you select the right race. Now, luckily, there's just one race going on by design, and that is the 340. You'll go to registration. You'll pick your race, which should be just one, and you'll enter your division and a boat number. Well, actually, this is team name. This is what's going to be displayed. So if you want something like my cool boat, you can do that. That's all good. Actually, no, I'm not sure that's going to work here for the 340 because it's a closed registration. Okay, forget I said that. That's got to go through Tabby. Can't go through this. I do need a phone number. This is the phone number for this particular device. I need this. Please don't omit that. It won't even let you track without it. So I need this to be able to get a hold of you in case something's going wrong, like you're tracking yourself across Missouri on the roads. So please enter that. I also need your race boat number. This used to say boat number, but when RaceAl started doing like like bike races and walking races and dune buggies, it was kind of awkward to have a boat there. So racer ID is your boat number. First name, last name, that's for you. We already have your information, so I think I would go ahead and just enter it just to be safe, or just have it complete. These things are for official use only, so ignore those. And that's it. You can press register. You don't have to because you are already registered for this race. So you see Sandbar Boys own 0001. So you register and you're basically done. It's ready to go. As long as you keep this thing running, it will go on track. I recommend, however, that you go here and it's tracking status. And then this is your kind of like your tracking screen, which gives you the kind of where you're at. Just to make sure things are working, it's good to do this ping location. Now we'll send a location to RaceAl and you show up on the race map. All right. If it's good, it'll come back. Yep, you're in good shape. You're tracking. Gotcha. You'll see this location number go to 1, and you have sent that location to RaceAl. We'll be checking that the day of the race start, just to make sure everything's copacetic and working well. But it really helps us if you figure out things beforehand, make sure you go green. Let me see this one. I think I'm missing my phone. Let me see phone. Oh, I need like this. I guess I do need to enter that. Is it there? Okay. Huh. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know what's up with that. Emulations. Let me try this one. Ping. Still no. Registration. Oh, that's right. I don't have a network. That's why I can't do it. So my emulation on the network is out for both phones. That's why it's not going through. If it were, then I would get a green thing that says you're in good shape. Okay. So that's tracking. That's really all you need to do. You make sure this, and I would recommend that if you stop and you're like doing texting or whatever, just make sure the app is still running. It doesn't hurt to send pings anytime. Just fire away. Doesn't matter. More locations, the better. So keep it running, and you're in good shape. A lot of people think, well, what am I doing? Splits and ETA will show you kind of where you're at. So this is actually new for this year. This gives you the ETAs and your split times. This is actually the official what you sent to RaceAl. So what this does, it will send out a message, get it from RaceAl. It'll download to your phone, and then it will show you for all these checkpoints when you're in and out. And this isn't just your phone. This is what raceal.com thinks. So this is proof to you that you've been checking in and checking out. And so this is proof that your tracking is working well. You can see here it shows all the various different access points. It gives you split times once you pass them, as well as distance to, as well as in and out times. So as you go down, it'll show, here's like right now I'm moving along towards Klondike. I will show up there at 7:14, and I will leave at 7:14, and then I'll end up the strings and so forth. Up here, you can turn off and just show checkpoints only if you don't want to see all the access points. And then it'll bring it down just to the basic checkpoints of the race. Yeah. All right. We talked about this already, and we talked about it. And that's basically it for the basic phone. Let me see how we're doing on time. We'll come back to this navigation after a while. That's kind of the core question that was talked about earlier about the voice. But I do want to cover a couple other things first. So let me pull back.
Jon,
Yeah.
we do have a question. If somebody's using a burner phone
Mhm.
and you've asked like for them to put in their phone number to contact, does it matter? Like, should they use the phone number, like their phone, like they're gonna have two phones in the boat, the
Yeah.
phone that they're gonna
So
answer or the burner number?
that's a really good question. I think I would prefer to have, well, oh boy. That's for just in case of emergency. I need to contact that phone. I think you stick with the phone that you've got because in reality, when I have a problem, I send out text to every phone I've got. So on RaceAl, there's a capability of sending to any phone that's registered that boat gets a text. And so I think I would rather you put the phone number associated with the phone in that spot, and then your other phone, you'll have register as well.
Okay.
All right, accidentally closed out, so bear with me for a second. Okay, real quickly on the how to kind of from a spectator point of view. There is the raceall.com, which you can always go to. What I'd like to draw attention to is some of the changes made to RaceAl itself, which is the RaceAl app. That one now has, oh, I just exited that, didn't I? Didn't mean to do that. not having a good time. All right, I won't show that. That is, I don't have it on that one either. My simulator. Yeah, I just lost my, I hit the quit button. All right, well, we won't do that. But suffice to say, the RaceOwl app itself has much more features now to track where you're at. It still has the same features as what has last year, except now they're just more expanded. So like the maps work better. You can track more than one person. A lot of the features that were asked for last year have been implemented. So that's been all good changes. Certainly the primary way that people track historically has been through the website. And so just real briefly, let me go into that just so people are aware of a couple of the key features there. Um, so the main website looks like this. You'll dig down into the Missouri 340. You'll see two screens. One is the race results, which will show each racer, and you will show you their position in the race. Now, this is actually pretty accurate as long as folks are tracking. In the Freedom Race, we had over 95% of the participants tracking. So that was actually really, really good leaderboard, very accurate. So you can see on this, you'll be able to see where they're at, what checkpoint they're coming into, what's their estimated time of arrival. For ground crews, I always recommend punch the button, right? So find their number and punch it. And this gives you the ETAs to all the checkpoints, right? So this is gold for ground crew because it gives you a fairly accurate readout, at least for the next few. It doesn't know when they're sleeping or pull off, but as long as they're moving down the river, this ends up being extremely accurate, like within a couple minutes of reality. So highly recommended that ground crew get to know this really well. Beyond that, there's also just the map itself, which in general, I think is kind of fun to play with. It's not terribly useful from the point of view of knowing when people are going and coming, but it is good for just, perusing things and seeing. So a couple of key features here, you'll notice there are red icons, there are black icons. If it's red, it means that the data has gone stale. It means it's been at least an hour since we've received any information from that. One key point, like when I'm racing, I need to be sure and tell my mom if it turns red, I'm not dead, because she thinks as soon as it turns red, something terrible has happened, right? And I think that's kind of the case for a lot of folks. Um, Red doesn't mean anything bad. It just means you've lost connectivity. There's lots of kind of dead spots throughout this race. So you get through Glasgow, things have improved a lot, but there's still the Glasgow black hole. So a lot of times you go through here and all of a sudden, oh, you kind of disappeared for a while. That's fine. RaceOwl picks you up when you come back out the other end, but you will have some points where you probably drop off. I tend to watch as an official now. I'll watch for the main pack. You'll see this thing kind of snaking along, all the people as they spread across Missouri. I'll look for the stragglers. So people who are driving off road, I'll check into those. People who are on river but way back, I'll tend to send them a note saying, "Are you okay? Everything okay? Doing fine or not?" Most often they're fine. But yeah, just be aware. Red does not mean dead. Red simply means you lost connectivity, and they'll probably pick it back up soon. The colors mean something. The colors are associated to anything that's the same colors in the same division. So here's the red ones here are going to be, what are they? Men's solo. The cyan, that is, what is that? Men's tandem, etc. So all the same colored ones are the same division, and you can kind of go with that. As you, what you'll see race day is interesting. All these various different things, there are people all across the country. They'll tend to converge a little bit towards Kaw Point. And as soon as the race hits, they all disappear for a split second and then reappear at Kaw Point. That's RaceOwl actually checking them in automatically. So anyone who has actually done what they're supposed to and checked in with the app or turned on tracking is automatically considered not a DNS. If you don't do that, you're a DNS until someone says otherwise. That's why it's really important to make sure you do that check-in at Kaw Point, because that's how we know if you DNS'd or not. Or at least that's the first indication that you DNS'd. we use that, and it's usually really accurate. Usually a few people forgot to do something, but it works pretty well. As you race, they'll kind of go down, and as they finish, they get removed from the map. So you'll see people disappear. That simply means they're no longer on the race. They either DNF'd, or they finished. And that's the map. You'll notice that there is a countdown. You don't need to keep refreshing. It will automatically refresh. Interesting tidbit, every time you hit F5, Google charges a fraction of a penny. So most of our charges happen right here with people pressing F5. Just FYI. Filters work pretty good. They've been improved from last year. You can use this to down select to different racers. There was a bug until this year where it wouldn't update the colors or the text. So if you click on this, it was always stale until you hit the refresh, but now that's been fixed. So this is all up to date and we'll track with this number. All right, I think that's all I need to say on the website. Again, the app itself, RaceOwl, has a lot of these same features as well, and some extras. For instance, it actually displays, instead of every minute, it displays every second. So it's like looking at it real time. All right, let me go back to presentation, and I think we're done with the presentation now. It's kind of yeah. So now let's go back to the app, and we'll talk a little bit about the original question, which was like some of the advanced features on it. Oh, drat. Okay, I got to use the Android side. So Android's fine, but this emulator is just not very good. So hopefully it still works. All right, so we got registration done, did that. And your question was, I believe, how do I silence it? And so silencing it happens in this navigation, right? So navigation is where you would go to if you want to see like the river, and it shows you all this good stuff. You can zoom in, zoom out, etc. It's showing you on this, the main line here is the channel, right? You do not have to be right on the red line, right? The channel is much wider than that, especially if the water is high. It kind of doesn't mean a lot. So you can be way off channel and you'll still be going just as fast as anything. The warning line is meant to be your kind of like keep you in the channel, don't get beyond that. So I'd recommend you stay somewhere in here, but know that when a barge comes, this is exactly where they're going to be. So get out of the channel and move away from the barge. If you are used to using Pro Paddler, you'll see a slight difference here because this shows different, it's updated data. So this is more data than what Pro Paddler has because it has like the shallows, right? So you see this little cyan line along here. Pro Paddler would just show you the wing dikes. This one show you kind of the shallows of the river. So you can still paddle there, but from a navigation point of view, that's where it gets shallow. If you go and right here to this is what you're talking about as far as voice feedback. Go to settings and you'll see this right here, voice feedback. Turn that on or off, and that should silence the voice. She's useful and annoying at the same time. And then you can adjust how fast she talks to you. What she's going to say is whatever's on the screen here. So if this one is set to speed, this one is set to distance to the next checkpoint. And this one, I don't know what this one is. Looks like cross-track. Cross-track is interesting. That is how far are you away from the channel. So we'll spend a second on that. So if you have a cross-track of, say, this is 0 because it's a simulation, but if you're, say, right here, that would be a positive cross-track. So you're to the right of channel, it means you have to go left. If you're negative, you're to the left, you got to go right. And this one is just battery. So that brings me to this guy right here, which is the cross-check, the channel warning. If you turn this on, if you're off channel and you get outside those green warning boxes, it will tell you go left or go right. If you want annoyance, turn her on. She's really annoying, but some people swear by her. I don't care for her, but it's totally up to you. This one here, show other racers. I don't know. This one's maybe interesting for late at night when you're passing by people. This, if they're tracking, should show them within a reasonable accuracy. If you're running low on battery, I would turn this off because this is using some cell data, but that's at least there for your enjoyment. Team names instead of numbers. Usually you don't know what the numbers don't mean much to you, but teams will. Estimated position, that is simply the, it's going to use the actual or the estimated. In this case, there's a trick going on in the background. It's all estimated. Um, there, this goes back to RaceOwl and the RaceOwl.com. It has a fairly advanced algorithm that goes through and estimates. As long as you're tracking within the last half hour, it will go ahead and project you a forward event. Otherwise, you've got to do math, and you wouldn't believe the number of complaints I get because this thing is delayed. Well, it is because you're only getting a ping every 10, 20 minutes, 5 minutes, something like that. It's always delayed. And so to fix that, we use estimated positions, which will project it ahead to be extremely accurate and show where the real-time position is. So everything is estimated. If you turn this on here, you're going to get even more estimated. So it'll be every second it updates versus a little bit like every minute or so on the website. Simulation we've been playing with, as far as that's really handy to just make sure you're familiar with the app. High contrast would be to make it so you can see it during the daytime. Again, this is not my favorite mode of operation because I don't usually want my screen on at night, but you can at least see the screen and stuff when you got that on. Let me see here. What else? I think that's about it. Everything else is just kind of interest a little bit maybe. Reverse race course, don't do that. That's for safety boats. And then there's some scaling here for those who are like me and your eyes have gotten old. Okay, I've kind of rambled on. I'll kind of stop here and see if there's questions or not, and just open it up.
Hi, John. Thank you for all this information. I have a question. Maybe it's been covered, but I saw something about dual tracking that kind of has made me a little bit paranoid that I have a spot.
Yep.
And you are welcome to get into my account if you would like to use that. But if I have the spot on and I want to use the navigation just for my own personal sanity, I'm not going to impact my
Nope.
uh,
Nope. You're
location.
absolutely fine. That's actually I actually like it when people do that. That's redundant tracking. So that helps out a lot. I don't want to see the phone go with the ground crew and you separate from the boat, but I can have, 1, 2, 3, 4 trackers in the same boat. It won't make a difference. It's redundant. Um, so I don't know that that's. I kind of like it. It doesn't have to work that way. In fact, you might want if you got like in a tandem or a team, I would just have one person tracking at a time and just save your batteries. Um, but yes, you can have multiple devices and you're absolutely fine. In fact, if you've got a spot that's operating right, now just because it's a satellite doesn't mean it's going to operate correctly. So that's the only caveat I have. But normally they work pretty well. And so if you wanted to put, you would be one of the exceptions that I would say go to airplane mode, right? You can do that and your spot will do the tracking and you can do the navigation with your phone.
Perfect.
But
Thank you.
bottom line is you won't hurt anything by tracking to both. You're just taking a little bit more battery from yourself. And I if you're sure about let me get into your account, then you can send me an email or I can get that information a little bit later. Anything else?
I have a quick question. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, hearing you.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Um, so on the navigation, when I'm kind of choosing what four options I want on that screen,
Mm-hmm.
um, the time select checkpoint option, hours and minutes,
Yep.
um, is it showing NA for me right now? Because I'm not actually
Ah,
going, I'm in the simulation
no,
mode.
no, you're actually fine. That's a really good question because what that is actually your selected checkpoint. So if you go to your splits, then it's saying,
Okay.
okay, it's not the next one, it's not the finish line, it's somewhere in the middle. So if I want to select a particular checkpoint, say I said hey, I'm going to meet my ground crew at Klondike, right? You can pick
Okay.
that, and then that becomes your selected checkpoint, which you will then see on your navigation screen. So that's what it means when
Okay.
it means selected.
So I just go and click on where maybe I want to stop next, and
Yeah.
I see that it highlights it in
Yep.
blue.
Yep.
And so, okay, so then that'll fill in that option there.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
There is one feature that I'll just spend a little bit of time talking about. This is not on the Apple side. This is only Android because it came from ProPaddler. But this one does have the ability to put in rest times. So you could like say, okay, I'm going to rest for 3 hours there,
Hmm.
and so forth. So that then adjusts your estimated finish time to take into account rest. I don't know how many people actually use that. It's been around forever, but I found it useful. But some people do. Most people don't even think about it. And look, I've gone into first place. Yay me. Of course, when you go in 121 miles an hour, you're going to win.
And then there was a note that on Android to get the navigation that is an add-on.
Correct. Yep, it goes to keep the servers running. So appreciate that.
Can you hear me? I have a question or
Mhm.
a comment. So I noticed that you can track other people, which is kind of nice at night when you get out there and
Yep.
you're scared and you've got fog and you need another boat around you.
Mhm.
Does that work on the iPhone?
Yep. It's on
Okay.
both.
All
Yep.
right. Will it also show people who they're using in a spot or an inReach
Yep.
or just
It's
okay.
it's 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 bringing down anyone who's tracking should show up.
Okay. Does that
Mhm.
take a lot of battery using that?
Well, so I had it. I think there is a there's refresh other racers. So otherwise, it updates every 10 minutes if you turn this on. So it's not much. I have not seen any difference. But if you turn it off, it will just not ask. And so that will help your battery out a little bit. I don't think it'll be much. I don't have any data that says otherwise.
Okay.
So my belief is it's not much, but if you see yourself being sucked down dry, turn it off.
Yeah.
And just you could just go here and say refresh and you'll see them.
Okay. Yeah, I just need it for a night. That would have helped me 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it'd be that's what I was really had in mind is like that night paddling when you're out in the middle of nowhere and you're just like where am I? Right? It'd be nice to
Yeah.
know someone's around you.
Yeah. Okay. And you can use my Garmin InReach as a
Perfect.
demo
Well,
too.
all
I
right.
have
Thank
it.
you. Yep.
I'll
So
email. I'll send you a Teams thing,
okay.
Cindy.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you.
This is Jim. I'm trying to add in the navigation option to
Hmm.
Race Owl. Just it looks like something really good here, and it's not allowing the purchase anywhere in. This is on a Android device, so no, there might be a glitch that's showing up in the system.
Uh, yeah. Have you made any purchases on the Google store?
Yes.
Okay. Um, yeah, I can talk to you, some other time on that and see if we can work that out. So far I haven't seen any issues with it. I don't even, that's not even my code, right? You borrow it from Google and they put it in. So, yeah,
Okay.
we can work it out, but it should work. Yeah,
All right.
most likely you need to go to the Play Store and see if your account's up to date and all that.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, I've got a.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry. Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Well, we can test this with a couple of paddlers maybe over the weekend, right? This will all work active.
Let me see.
I got another paddler to do this and put their name down here, and I could see if I can find them on the navigation.
Yeah, it will work kind of because the thing is the race hasn't started yet, but
Okay.
I can set up another practice race and that'll be active and then you can use that. But the thing is, this thing doesn't start tracking you until after the race starts, right? And
Okay, that's
so
fine.
otherwise you're sitting there pressing ping every 3 minutes to let it know where you're at, and that's no fun.
Okay, no, that's fine. I'll just play
Mm.
around with it. I didn't
Well,
use.
I mean, I'm happy to set up. I'm going to set one up anyway. So I'll there'll be one active this weekend. Let's put it that way.
Okay, okay, that'll work.
Mm.
Thank you.
Just pick the practice one, right? So not the real one because it won't work.
Yeah, I'll pick the
Yeah.
practice.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, I'm a first-time ground crewer, and I'm sorry I missed this presentation. I came late, and I have the most elementary of questions, which is, will the race owl work everywhere at every ramp? Will I be able to track my racer? Are there dark spots ever?
This particular river has several dark spots. There's like we mentioned earlier, Glasgow is like a key one. Not
Okay.
all phones are created equal. The providers that work the best are Verizon and AT&T, and I don't know, things have changed a little bit, but T-Mobile tends to be one of the worst. That's what I have. But it's actually improved quite a bit over the last couple of years as this 5G things come in. So the amount of dark spots we've seen has gone way down. So there's very few spots I see where people just disappear. So I think in general it will work fine. You'll notice people at Glasgow stand at the top of the hill. They'll all stand in one little spot where you get a little bit of reception.
Okay.
But generally though, you've got especially at the ramps, there's at least some place that has some sort of reception.
Super. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. I know, Tabby, anything to add there? That's been my experience. I think that's still accurate.
Yeah, it seems to be accurate.
Mm-hmm.
I used Google Fi last time and had coverage pretty much the whole race.
I think someone with their hand up. Annie?
Yeah.
Yeah, quick question. You said when you get close to the river, it's going to automatically start tracking.
Yep.
And then do you just go under options to stop that, or you just keep it going?
Well, I mean, if you're racing, let it go, right? I mean, the way to stop tracking is just to kill the app, right? But if you're racing, you don't want to, right?
Okay.
So you can tell. I'll give you the keys to the kingdom on when it starts tracking. If you go over here to the settings, and there's this, where is it? Way down
So
here.
we're under navigation now, right?
Yeah, see this bounding box? If you're outside the river, it'll be there anyway. But if you want to see this as you're on river, you can go here. And what
Now,
this
are we on
does,
the app or the website?
this is the app. Yeah.
Okay.
So see these boxes? These are the areas it's going to track. So as soon as you go within these boxes, it turns on.
Okay. Okay.
But if you
But
don't want to track, just turn off the app, kill it.
okay. And it's going to start tracking. When did you say?
It'll start tracking day of race,
Okay.
and it'll stop when you finish the race
Okay.
or
Thanks.
exit the box,
All
or the race is over,
right.
whatever
Okay.
comes first.
Thanks a lot.
Now
John,
you have
did
to have
you
the app
check?
running. That's such a key thing. A app has to be on. Yep. You don't need the screen on. That's key, right? But you need to have the app running in the background.
John,
I
you
have a
mentioned
quick
having
question.
a ground crew Zoom next week.
Yeah, I think there's usually a lot of questions in ground crew areas, so I think it's probably worthwhile to have a separate Zoom. We haven't done one of those yet, so I think it'd be worthwhile to just have one because, what else do you have to do except sit there and play with apps and sit by the river, right? So, yeah.
So when we know that, we'll send out a message.
Yeah, and I can set it up, Tabby, or I mean, or let you do it again if you want to make it official. But either way works for me. I know things get really, really busy, so I can just handle it if you want. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, we've gone a little past an hour, and that's about where we wanted to be. So I wish you all really, really good weather and awesome race.
Yay.
And
And this will
it's
be up on
surely,
our YouTube.
yep. And surely this will be better than last year, right?
Yeah.
Hey, if all things averages out, that means this is going to be the best race ever. It's going to be perfect.
Thank you very much.